Dahlheimer with 14 agents.
Okay, all right. So we're live. So welcome, Facebook viewers. That's okay. Welcome to our topics at 12. Just like to say, one of the pieces of feedback that we received, I think maybe at the end of last year, was that people were still looking for more professional development and more educational seminars. And personally, we just like for our members to be able to have the opportunity to talk to other businesses. So I'd like to welcome Duane Dahlheimer with the Dahlheimer Agency. He has been involved with the chamber ever since I've been here, and I've been here for 7 years of this summer, so it's been a long time. You were here a lot longer than that. You were coming off the board at that point. So
over a decade.
But we're thankful to have the support of members like Duane, and thank you all for coming to hear. I have to tell you, we've been through this once as a staff, and it was super educational, and please ask questions. He's very knowledgeable, and I think it's a really good... if anything, it's good to be educated about your insurance. And this in particular is about your homeowners and auto insurance. And I know a lot of people, they get bundled together. And so there's always a lot of questions about, discounts and coverage and cost. And he's going to cover all that today. And the other thing is we are very interested in a program where people can offer this to their employees. A lot of companies... they, particularly right now with medical insurance and other things, it's not very cost effective for some of our companies to offer those types of benefits. And so this is a benefit that doesn't cost your company any money. You can let Duane come in and talk to the employees. And he does really cool stuff where he, offers a Visa gift card if they bring their their declaration pages for. But the really cool thing about that is, employees get to hear, they get an incentive, they're educated, which I feel like as an employer is always really important for people to be educated. But also you're offered a benefit because if he can save them money, then he's going to save them money. And even if he saves them money on their own stuff, he's happy. He wants people in Reidsville to be able to do business and do it well and just be a part of the community. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to be Facebook Live, and I hope we've got some viewers that are going to tune in today. And we'll be sharing it, and it'll be on our TV channel. If you're not familiar with the TV channel, you can rewatch this and all of our other videos. It's at reidsvillechamber.org/TV. So
thank you very much. A lot of pictures, I think. Well, thank each one of you for taking the time out of your day. Really what it is an educational seminar. So whether you're with Allstate or State Farm, Farm Bureau, whoever you're with, it doesn't really matter. It's about learning about what you have. Most time people are not sitting at home reading their policies and going line by line and what does this mean? So it's good to be educated about what you have, because then you can tweak things, make things different, make sure you're getting your claims processed and paid the way you want it to. So today is just ask questions. I've been in insurance for over 30 years. I've been with Allstate for about 15 years. On 2 agencies. One is here in Reidsville and one is in Greensboro. I'll go through the coverages, why you should have them, why you don't need to have them, what the different rates are, how you can file a claim to make sure you get them paid. So really it's just a back and forth. Some interesting facts, I wrote them down so I didn't have to memorize them, is, let me ask you a question here. How many people you think as a percentage file a claim in their lifetime? An auto claim? Wild guess.
65%.
That's pretty good.
70%.
That's good, 80%. So on average, every 17.9 years, somebody files an auto claim. So if you've made it over 18 years since you were 16, you're doing better than everybody else. The average claim for an auto claim is $24,000 because you crash a lot of cars, multiple cars. Also, people go to the hospital. You have to pay the medical bills. That's part of your auto claim. So people, I look at it, a loss ratio is how much money the insurance company pays out for every dollar they get in premium. So a good company is doing about 60%. So for every dollar insurance company takes in, they pay out 60 cents and they run everything else on the other 40 cents per dollar. Because what I believe is you don't have insurance to pay the premium. You have the insurance to get claims paid. So how best to do that? Making sure you have the right coverages so you have the coverage if something happens. And then how do you file a claim in such a way to make sure you're getting it paid? And that's what we'll talk about today. So I'm going to go over auto coverage. If you have your declarations pages, you can follow along. So the first part is really just to educate you on what the coverages are in an auto policy, and then we'll go through claims and all kinds of different things. So every auto policy has liability. Need a pen? Mm-hmm. All right.
I might have one. I think I stole one from in here before.
It's all right.
There it is.
All right. So every auto policy has liability insurance. Now remember, liability is for the other person. It's not for you. It's to pay the other party if you hit them. So you've got bodily injury, which means someone goes to the hospital and you have to pay the medical bills for that person. Property damage is you hit a car, a mailbox, a fence post, whatever, you better pay to fix whatever you've hit. So this particular individual has $50,000 each person. So if one person in a car gets hurt that you've hit, you have $50,000. If multiple people get hit, so let's say 3 people are in the car, you have up to $100,000. Now you can get up to $500,000 if you wanted to for that. Property damage, this person has 50, but you can have 100,000, 250,000, so it goes up. So the question I get a lot of times is, why do I need more than that? So remember, if you don't have an insurance company paying that liability, who are they going to come after to get that money to pay the medical bill? You. So then you look at, well, how much do I have at risk? How much do I have in savings and retirement? How much do I have in my home? How much do I have in my cars? If I don't have insurance or I don't have enough, they come after those things to make sure the bills are paid for the party you hit. So the rule of thumb is, look at how much you have at risk and get that much in liability. Of course, the more higher the liability, the more it costs, so you got to do that balancing act. Okay, so everybody understand what liability is? This is the only coverage required by law. Everything else is elective. Unless you have a car that has a lien on it. Then the bank's going to want to make sure you have collision and comprehensive, which we'll go over next. So again, by law, you only need liability, but the bank's going to require you to have collision and comp if you still owe money, because they don't want their money if something happens to the car. Okay? So let's look at comprehensive. That is on a lot of deck pages, it's called other than collision. And you can have, it has a deductible. It could be 0, which means the insurance company will pay for the whole claim. But it could be $250, $100, $500, whatever. The more you pay on your deductible, the less your rate's going to be, because you're self-insuring up to a certain amount. Okay, so this person, it's called actual cash value, which means they have a 0 deductible plan. So the thing, not my fault. Hail damage, not my fault. Actually hitting a deer on the road, it's not your fault. The deer hit you. You didn't hit the deer came in the road. So that's another one. You've got vandalism, that's another one. Those are the major ones that hit. Rock hitting your windshield. Yeah, chips in your windshield, total cracking of your windshield, it's another big one. Probably the most common comprehensive claim is windshield claims. The second one actually in Reidsville is deer. And then trees hitting your car. Hail damage, I mean, it just depends when it comes through, but anytime there's a major hailstorm, phones ring, because it's, it's major. And it also hurts homeowners too, because there's roof claims on that. So hail's a big thing. So anyway, that's what comprehensive is. Again, it's elective, you don't have to have it. When you're talking to your insurance agent, it's how much do you want to pay yourself. The more you pay, the less you will pay in your monthly premium. And the things that you get paid for are rocks. So if you're, let me explain how that works too. Let's say you get a ding and a chip, small little chip, size of your finger, but it happens to be in your line of sight as a driver. You have to replace your windshield. You can't say, well, just put that gooey stuff in there, let it dry, I'll be fine. No, you gotta replace it. Now, if that chip is over on the passenger side, you can get away with just paying for the chip and not replacing the windshield. Okay, so we work with all kinds of glass companies, and they'll come to your door, they'll come to your office, they replace it on site, so those are pretty easy to get done. Any questions around that? So anybody had a comprehensive claim before? So we all know what that is. Collision, that means it's your fault. You hit something. You hit a car, you hit a mailbox.
Cousin's brick wall.
Yes. So collision is you're damaging your car, you're at fault, and you want to fix your car. You pay a $500 deductible, and your insurance company pays for the rest. Again, the more you pay over here, the less you pay on a monthly basis. The most expensive coverage on an auto policy is collision. So if you're trying to decrease your rate, you would have a higher deductible. You can be zero if you want, but it's a lot more money. So collision, again, is when you hit somebody, something, and you want to get your car fixed. If someone else, people get confused sometimes, what about if somebody hits me? Remember, if somebody else is hitting you, their insurance is paying, so you don't want to file a claim on your policy, you want to file it on theirs. A lot of people call me when they've been hit, and they say, I got to file a claim. You don't want to do that. People do sometimes because they want to be sure their insurance company, Allstate, takes care of it for them. But then it shows up as an event on your policy. Ideally, you want it to just call the other insurance company, have them take care of it. So
Unless they are uninsured.
then you have that coverage too. Now I'll tell you what that is down there, but you have uninsured coverage. So if they're uninsured, we take care of it. It's a good question. So if an uninsured person hits you, you get damaged, car hurt, and you find out that that person is uninsured, Allstate or whoever you're with will take care of that for you. That's required now in the state of North Carolina. About 5 years ago, it was required. About over 30% of people driving around are uninsured. So you have a chance that it may happen to you. So the state of North Carolina required you to have that. Roadside assistance, again, not required by anybody, but it's like you get stuck on the side of the road, change your tire, bring gas to you, unlock your doors, whatever you have, you need the roadside. So ours is a reimbursement. You have to solve the problem. Call a tow truck. It has to be a reputable company. It can't be call your mom and bring the gas to me and now I want my money. It has to be a company that comes to you and solves the problem. You bring that receipt into your local agent, they send it off to corporate, and they send you money. Now, there could be $100 per occurrence, could be $50 per occurrence. Our highest is $100 right now. Now, we do have Motor Club, but that's a separate product. It competes with AAA and that kind of stuff. That is, you pay monthly, and then when something happens, there's somebody who comes and solves the problem for you. It's more expensive. So this is an inexpensive way to get roadside assistance, but you still have to solve the problem. Okay?
Is there a limit on the number of times you can use it?
No. I shouldn't say that. It has happened before, but so if you're happening all the time. My daughter did this. She had this. Her friend didn't. She was in her friend's car. Just use this number and you can take care of it. And give me the bill and we'll take it. So if you got someone out there giving away, and I had Motor Club. I didn't have roadside assistance. But Motor Club actually stopped me because my kids are driving into trees and woods and banging things up. And I had to tow them out. And then they start giving it to their friends and they're calling 800 number, so. Keep your 800 number very close to your heart and train your kids not to use your Motor Club if you purchase that.
So
by the way,
your roadside assistance, like if you have to call a tow truck, because we all know that tow trucks can get fairly expensive.
yes.
So do you have to pay them whatever they offer?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you get up to 100. So you bring the receipt in. If your bill was 150, you're going to get 100 from Allstate.
Okay.
Okay. If you have the $100 plan. The only thing I've learned from daughters driving is if your car is in the road and a police officer comes and says you need to move that and it's unmovable, they will call. If you don't get a tow, they'll call a tow that they need you off the road. There is a set rate for tow trucks that is higher than the average rate because they need a tow truck to show. Try to avoid that at all costs. So if you can push it to the side, push it to the side.
That's good to know.
Maybe take time, but make some phone calls on your phone to get another tow truck. But they're going to want you to. They're going to give you some pushing to say, let me call the tow truck for you, but they're not telling you what the rate is. So just a little bit of knowledge out there, okay? Rental car reimbursement. What this is not is you can't just go rent a car for vacation and get it paid for by Allstate and reimbursed. This is for when your car is in the shop due to a collision or comprehensive claim. So your car is getting fixed by your insurance company who you've chosen to use. During that period of time, you get a rental car for up to 30 days. Okay, so again, that's elective. This one is $30 a day, up to $900, but that's 30 days. Okay, so again, it's elective. Where I tell people, if you've got 3 cars and 2 drivers, why do you need a rental car insurance? You don't. You just use a 3rd car. Now, if you've got 1 car, 1 driver, or 2 cars, 2 drivers, then you got to think what would happen if your car's in the shop. You got good friends or family going to take care of you. If they say, "Oh, I'm on it," that's fine. But realize that's only for when your car's in the shop getting fixed. Automobile medical payments. That is anybody in your car gets hurt for any reason, you have up to $1,000 to take care of the small medical bills if they have to go to the hospital. Okay, so it's not someone else hits you, it's something happens in your car to yourself driving or to your passengers, and you get some medical payments. So people talk about claims. So let's talk about the best way to do claims. Number one, having the right coverages is good. So you have to know what it does cover. I think we've covered that. You guys know what the coverages are for. One thing people don't know about collision is hit and run. I get these calls, they're not pleasant, but you're in a parking lot, you go inside, come back out, there's a ding on your car. Oh my gosh, somebody hit me. You call your insurance agency, they're gonna say, who hit you? I don't know. That's going to be a collision claim, because the insurance company doesn't know who to go after. So it's gonna show up on collision. When they look at your rate every year, they're looking at, this is at fault. That's may increase your rate depending on how much money they pay out. Comprehensive is not your fault. They're not going to increase your rate, comprehensive, unless you just keep having them every single week. So the number of times is important when you're filing claims. Not just the amount paid out, but how many times are you filing claims. You look at both of those to determine whether they're going to increase your rate or not. Comprehensive, not as bad. You can have some windshields and deers hit you all the time. They may say, hey, we're not going to do 0 anymore. You've got to do your deductible at $250, but you keep it. It's just, you got to stop self-insuring if you have a lot of claims. Okay? So on collision, a hit and run is a collision claim. It's nothing you can do about it. I mean, unless they can track down that person or get a witness or whatever, it's going to show up as a collision claim. So let's talk about, should I file a claim or not file a claim? Always call your agent. And you don't have to do what, say it happened on a Saturday, unless your car is crashed, You don't have a time limit to file a claim. So you can call them on Monday if you can drive your car away, if you can. So to decide, do I file a claim or not? If it's a big claim and your car is messed, then you're gonna file it no matter what. You need your car fixed. But if it's a small one, little ding, I filed one last month, how much was that? How much was paid out? Do I file another one? I better call my agent to find out, would it affect my policy? Most people don't know that you can call and walk through it and get a guesstimate of will it affect me or not. Do you have any points already on your insurance? If you don't, maybe this won't hurt you. If you've already got 2, 1, 3 points on there, here's what could happen to your rate. So I always recommend calling the agent you have and talking them through. Has anybody had to file a collision claim and go through that? Yeah.
So you're not obligated to call in if I just call and ask you questions. Because if I had some points, I might not call you because I said, well, you're going to put it in and then I might not have another option.
Yeah. Now, once you call claims, it's a separate department.
Just you, okay.
You call your agent and they say, well, let me go in here. How many, well, you got 3 points? Oh, okay. Your rate probably already went up. Do you really want to add this one on? Like, well, my car I can't drive. You got to add it on. You got to get your car fixed. That's what it's for. But if it's just a blemish and you have an option of not putting it on, you can do that. Or we can start looking at what are your deductibles and coverages, and maybe we can massage things. So there's things the agent can do to look at to give you an idea whether you should. Also, they say, well, can I send it to my guy that I want to fix, or do I have to go someplace? Allstate will recommend approved shops because we guarantee the work, but you can go anywhere you want. So it's they can't call you and say, you must use Pierce or M&H or whatever. You can use anybody you want. But they will recommend companies that we have already built a relationship with. The only benefit of doing that is we don't have to send an adjuster to them because we already have a relationship with them. So if we don't, and we just send an adjuster, that could take 2 or 3 days, and it delays your process 2 or 3 days. But depends how much time you have. But you have a rental car for 30 days, hopefully. So, so that's how that works. So always call your agent if possible. Let me see if something I missed. Oh, North Carolina is a shared fault state. Who knows what that is? Okay, parking lot, 2 people backing up. Bang, they hit each other. Whose fault is it? It wasn't me. I stopped before she hit me. It wasn't me. She hit me. And so they can't determine that. And it's not the police officer's job. Both insurance companies will pay shared fault if they can't 100% determine who backed into who. And same thing other accidents, but almost every time the double backup is going to be shared fault. Okay. Perfect. Claims tips. Okay. All right, so when you get a claim, you paid it out, we pay out money. It stays on your policy for 3 years. Once that 3 years is done, your rates go back to normal. So that's another reason to call is how long ago did I have that last claim? When's that going to come off? Helps you out with making an educated decision on that. Okay. All right, some people ask, should I get an estimate first? I always recommending get an estimate so you know how much the claim could be for, because we don't know until it goes to a shop. So if you can get it to a shop you like, get an estimate, then call and say, well, it's going to be this much. How much will my rate go up? So I would get an estimate. They don't cost you anything, so they always want to give you a free estimate. So call that. Okay. Oh, another thing people don't know about. Collision and comprehensive. One, the definition of a collision claim is a stationary object in the road. Comprehensive, if it's a moving object in the road, it's comprehensive. So there have been some situations where something comes off the back of a truck and it's moving. Still could be a rock or a log or something, but it's moving. It could be considered a comprehensive claim. So if it's a rock in the middle of the road and you just couldn't avoid it, or a log, that's going to be a collision. If it's a moving object, it's going to be comprehensive. So knowing what words they're looking for in the semantics, you want to make sure you call your agent and they'll tell you, hear your story and tell you the best way to call.
So like if you're driving behind one of those rock trucks and it hits a dip in the road, that would be considered a moving object, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And most
That's why you let somebody give
glass
it to you in a
claims.
log truck, because I've seen Final Destination.
Yes. Most rock claims are going to be comprehensive. It's the hitting bigger things. Was it moving? Was it stationary? I don't know how it turned out, but I'm just letting you know.
My deer was moving.
Yes, that's an automatic.
Is it possible, I know you talked about rental car reimbursement, and that is not rental car, but is there coverage on a liability or comprehensive policy for rental cars? Like, so that you don't have to pay the individual rental car from Hertz or whoever, that you say, I already have insurance that covers that?
Yes. So you're going on vacation and you're going to rent a car.
Right.
They're pushing the sheet over to you to contract. Hey, you need insurance.
Mm-hmm.
If you already have insurance, the insurance from your personal policy transfers to the rental car.
Okay.
So there are some people that just have liability only, and they go, "Oh, I've got insurance." They go on and they hit something. They have insurance, but they don't have full coverage. So make sure you know what you have, because if you don't have full coverage, you should get their policy to make sure you get full coverage on a rental car.
So if you have full coverage, you don't
theirs.
need to get their insurance.
Nope. Nope. No. The only negative story I've ever heard that's not 100% true is there are some times where the rental company has to take that car offline and to get it fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And they were charging one of our customers for the loss of use of the car, and they won. So how rarely does that happen? I just wanted you to know there was one case that I read about that the rental car company won it, and that they had to take the car off their fleet, and so for that period of time they couldn't use the car, and they got some money from that. And our insurance that's not covered under your personal policy, but 95% of the time you don't really need to get that unless you're really worried about that particular scenario. Okay. Any questions on auto before I move on to home? Make sense?
More
So
sense than
I'll
it
mention
did.
one last thing, how to save money. So, liability, there's not much you can save there, it's what you get. You can go as low as 30, 60, 25. That's the lowest allowed by the state. Comprehensive, again, do you need it? And if so, what's your deductible? Same thing here, collision, what's your deductible? And then you decide what you want these. So what we look at when we're looking at an auto policy to save money is, number one, are you in the latest product? We do an annual review every single year. We look at your stuff. If a new product came out, we try to run you through the new product, see what's gonna happen there. And then you look at where can we adjust the policy, what do you need, not need. Somebody mentioned young drivers, so I'll just touch on that real quick before we move on. Inexperienced drivers, 16 years old, they get their license. When you're 15, by the way, you have a year of driving. That is, you don't have to add them to the policy at that time. So they can drive the car with an adult, and it's not on the policy. As soon as they get their real driver's license, you have to add them to the policy. And that could be a $500 to $600 event. So it goes up because of the risk. Obviously, the number of people getting in accidents and tickets when you're young goes up. So one thing people don't know is if the person drives clean for a year, that surcharge goes down by 40%. Then it goes another year, if they goes down by 30. The third year down by another 30. So you're back to normal after 3 years with an experienced operator. So the question is, how do I keep that $500, $600, $700 thing from hitting me? If you get a car worth $3,000 or $4,000, maybe you don't need collision and comp because you're gonna fix it or not. So maybe you just add that young driver to a liability-only policy, car, saves you a lot of money. If you're gonna get a full coverage car and assign a young driver to it, you're gonna pay more than if you just assign the young driver to a car that just has liability only. But you don't wanna do liability only on a $10,000 car because you're gonna wanna get it fixed. You know?
What if they're driving your car? Like they have their car that they drive the majority of the time,
Yes.
but they're driving your car because you want them to drive you to Greensboro because you are lazy and you don't want to.
So, should I be telling Facebook this? Let's just say a claim is going to be paid no matter what car
Right.
they're driving on the policy.
Okay.
But an underwriter is going to ask you, what car is their car? And the agent or customer is going to tell them what car that's going to be. From a cost standpoint, the least expensive car is going to be the liability-only car. And it's going to be paid for no matter which car any of the people on the policy is driving. So, good point, good question. What else? So I guess the key thing is trying to manage the car to the young driver. And you usually wouldn't do that, but the rate is pretty high no matter where you are when you add a young driver. So as a parent of 3 daughters, I bought them $3,000 cars, put liability only on it, and then when they drove clean for a year or two, that was their incentive to get a car that they wanted. If you drive clean for 2 years, I'll think about moving up to a nicer car, but I saved a lot of money on my insurance during that period of time. Also, get a ticket. Another thing people don't know about. North Carolina, you go to court, you pay their fees, you get off. Majority of the time. Unless it's your second, third, fourth event. But lawyers they may cost $300 or so. And your insurance is gonna go up if you get guilty of a speeding ticket, 10 miles an hour or more over the speed limit. We'll get points, your rate will go up, and it'll stay on for 3 years. Call us, we'll do the math for you. Here's what that rate could be, times 3 years. How much is the lawyer to make it go away? Usually, make it go away. So, it's just something to think about. If you ever get an accident ticket, don't just run out there and write checks. think about getting a lawyer, call your agent, make sure you know you're doing the right math. Make sense? Okay. Keep thinking of things as I speak, so I gotta shut this down. Here we go.
Oh, one thing before you go home. Okay, well, you don't have to leave it up.
Okay.
Okay, you talked about young drivers. Okay, next year I'll be 70. Do they give you any discounts because you've been driving good and you haven't had a... I know old people can't see sometimes, and we have accidents, but they don't give for good behavior.
Okay. You got me. Okay, here we go. So, everybody does the same thing. So you get surcharged when you're really young and when you're very old. And everybody may have a different line of what they consider an age where their driving ability may decrease. So, no, you don't get a discount once you break a certain age. You could get a surcharge. That is correct. So if you're 85 and you're still driving clean, never had an accident, you get a renewal policy coming up, you might get an increase. So, for that reason.
Even if you haven't had an accident.
It's all about the
probably
math.
Call some people trying to get out your way.
Yeah, it's about the math. I mean, insurance, really, it's a numbers game. They just look at, for people who look like this, with this age, income, psychographics, demographics, the odds of something happening is this, and they run rates totally based on the math. So an individual calls in and says, hey, that's not me. I didn't just totally understand that. It can't, now obviously your driving specific record is you. And so your accidents and tickets, and that's specific. But everything else has an effect on where you live. Your Reidsville is totally different rated than Greensboro. Because the number of accidents that could happen on the road in Greensboro is more than in Reidsville. I just moved from Greensboro to McLeansville. For some reason, McLeansville's more expensive than Greensboro.
I know.
I don't know what happened. But anyway, I called my agent. I said, what's going on? So it's a lot of varying factors. But to answer your question, age usually doesn't have any effect at all. Gender has no effect at all, unless really young, older. But you get a senior citizen discount and retired discount. There is a discount for being a retired and senior citizen, so there you go. Well, here's the reason for that. You're not supposed to be on the road as much. You're not driving every day to work. So why should you pay? It's all about how many hours on the road,
and
too.
I don't have to tell her my granddaughter lives 200 miles away.
Don't.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah. So good question. Homeowners. Let's hit the same thing here. Let's say this person has got $245,000. That number is not what the value of your home is. That is what it costs to rebuild it. Doesn't include any land. It doesn't include if you're living on a lake or on the ocean. It's what does it cost to rebuild the home. And they look at it from a cost per square foot to rebuild your home. And that depends on how many bathrooms you have. Is it bricks? Is it, what kind of siding do you have? There's a lot of different factors that go in, but they have a general cost per square foot. In general, Allstate uses about 110 to 130, depending on all the other factors. But you're doing cost per square foot. So people call me, my home is worth $500,000. Why are you only insuring it for $300, whatever? Well, where is it? Is it on the ocean? Is it on Figure 8 Island off the coast? That, yeah.
Is it in the ghetto?
That doesn't matter. So that's what that number is. It's not the value of your home, but what it costs to rebuild it. Now people look replacement to 125%. Insurance policies will pay you not just the $245, but an additional 25% on top of that, because they don't know at the time of the claim what's the cost for labor, cost of materials. So they want to make sure they have a cushion there for paying a claim out if it's a total loss. So you have a total house fire, they'll give you up to 125% of that number that you got on there. The biggest way to save money on a homeowner's policy is your deductible. $1,000 is the least amount that Allstate will do now. You came into an Allstate agency, I think State Farm's the same way, but I'm not going to vouch for that, but you can't write a policy for less than $1,000 deductible. So I got customers who have $250 deductible, and they call in, hey, my rate just went up a little bit. I said, well, We can put you in a new product that might cost you less, but remember, your deductible is $250. The new product is $1,000. Are you okay with that? And you just make a judgment call. So you're grandfathered in the old product unless you switch out of it. Okay. So you can go up as high as $5,000, whatever you want. But for this size home, $1,500 is a good amount. Other structures. If you do the math, you'll notice that that's 10% of that number. So these things here are not individual. They are percentages off of your dwelling. So let's take a look at contents, for example. That's 70%. Someone looked at me and said, "You kidding me? I don't have $171,000 worth of stuff in my house." I go, "Well, you don't matter. You get it no matter what. It's 70% of that number." Same thing, that's 10%. So other structures are sheds, barns, fences, other structures on your property. Tree hits it, crushes it, you get up to $24,000 on this size home to fix it up. Okay? Personal property is pick up a house, shake it, everything that falls out, that's your personal property. Anything not attached is personal property, including your sheds. Lawnmowers, weed whackers, edgers, whatever you have out in your sheds, that's personal property. Covered anywhere in the world. You take it with you to grandma's house, it's in your car, someone breaks into your car, takes it out of your car. That's not an auto claim. That's a homeowner's claim. The downside of that is if you have a deductible, $1,500, whatever was taken out of your car would have to be pretty expensive. But most people don't know that things stolen out of your car, that content, if it was yours, is covered under your homeowner's policy. Okay? Loss of use. I'm not a very good cook, so I'm in the kitchen. I walk away from the stove, and I cause a kitchen fire, and there's smoke damage, and there's fire all over, and I can't live in my house because there's so much smoke damage. You lose the use of your home. You go live at a hotel somewhere. You get up to $49,000 to pay for that motel and your food while you're out of your house. So you lose the use of your home. What's that?
Even if it's your fault, you burn it up.
Doesn't matter. If it's a covered claim, covered peril, and we'll go over those. Yeah, fire is a peril, it's covered. Now, if it's intentional, no. If it's a mistake, yes. So, good question. Personal liability means someone comes on your property and they get hurt and they think it's your fault. Could be someone playing in the pool and you didn't close the gate. And a child next door neighbor goes in and they fall in your pool and drown. Could be your fault because the gate wasn't closed. Someone goes to visit you at Christmas time and didn't put any salt or sand down your walkway and they slip and fall and they hit their head and splits open and blah, blah, Could be your fault. You got a deck in the back and haven't really fixed up that railing that was loose and someone fell off and fell down 6 feet. Those are liability claims that someone could say was your fault, but they have to prove it. They gotta say, yes, it was your fault. Your policy pays up to, this one, up to $300,000. All right? Or it can go up to $500,000 too, if you want. Understand what those are then? The most common claim in personal liability is your dog runs across the street and bites the neighbor's kid's legs or arms. You gotta bring them to the hospital. So that's the most common liability claim. Medical payments to others, small thing. The thing we get sometimes is you're leaving the house and the owner closes the door, but you haven't moved your hand yet. Cut your hand or break some fingers. You go to the emergency room and it's a small thing. It's not a liability that was lots of money. It's a small thing. You have medical payments up to $1,000 that take care of the small cuts and bruises.
Probably more than that. Just a quick question, seeing and how's that is on your homeowner's insurance. If you had someone in your car and closed the door, is that on an auto insurance?
Yeah, that's the med pay portion.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
So you've got med payments.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
Now you'd have to have it.
Yeah,
Since these are all elective from here on down.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good point. So I look at it and people say, what should I have? Obviously, once you get this all comes with it. Now you can adjust this down to $100,000, up to $500,000. Again, what I say is, what are your assets that are at risk? How much do you have that could be taken away by a lawsuit? you may want to make sure you have enough of that liability there. Most people are underinsured on liability. They think it's never going to happen to me, and you know, it happens. And that's where they get stuck, and then they got to take money out of their own pocket to pay the penalty. So the biggest way to save money is your deductible, and if you have an alarm system that is monitored. So barking dog is not a monitored alarm system. People like that to happen, but no. So it can't be a local either. Big sounds and all that. It's great. It's fantastic to have. You know, you got your lights out there too, and there's flashing lights. You don't get a discount for that. It's good to have, but you get a discount if an alarm is going to a fire station or police station that's going to come and take care of you. Plenty of them out there. And the discount's not, I'm not saying it's huge, but it could be 5 to 10% depending on what kind of policy you have. And if you have it, you definitely should get the discount. I wouldn't say go out and get an alarm system just to save money on your home. It's not going to equate. Make sense? Okay. Claims. Claims. So I get the calls of a tree of my neighbors came and crushed my car in my driveway. Who's going to pay in that case?
He has.
Nope.
He does.
Your insurance company is going to pay. Same thing though, in the reciprocal. Your tree on your property crushes the house next door. They're just going to pay. So it's not where the tree started, is what gets damaged by it, is actually the company that's going to pay.
Okay, repeat that again, what you said about the tree the first time.
Yeah, first time. So you got a neighbor's tree, right?
That falls on mine.
Falls in your.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, your car insurance is going to pay to fix your
We
car.
have that situation now. One in our backyard went over the fence into the neighbor's yard. Luckily, it didn't hurt anything. It just tore down a wire fence.
Right.
And he's like, "Don't worry about it."
Yes.
Tree's still sitting
Hey, it's
there.
your tree. You should pay.
That-
And insurance-wise in the state,
He
his
has
insurance
to.
is going to pay. Now he's going to pay his deductible. So people get all mad about that. I'm like,
Yeah,
but it's
he's-
reciprocal. So the only way to get around that is if you see a tree that looks like it's dying, it's coming down, it's facing toward your home. If you send them a letter, a certified letter, and they get it, and you have a copy to your agent, if it happens, you can go to your insurance company and say, hey, I sent them a certified letter, and we will take care of it, and then we'll go against their insurance company to get our money back.
Okay.
So therefore, we could come off with your record.
Because we had 3 or 4 trees we did cut down because of that.
Yeah.
This one fell down during a rainstorm.
Wind, rain, yeah,
We've had 2 come down
yeah.
for that.
It happens. Because the soil gets
Neither
moisture
one of
and the whole
them
thing.
damaged thing except the wire fence.
Well, that's the other thing. People come up to me and say,
Been
well,
lucky.
my tree fell in my backyard. And you got to get rid of this tree. I'm like, well, what did it hurt? What did it hit? Nothing, but a tree fell. No, not covered. It has to hit something. You file a claim because it damaged something on your home, and then as part of the claim, we'll take the tree out. But your homeowner's insurance doesn't pay for removal of trees unless it crushes.
Yeah, that was the other the third tree we had fall down.
I have a place in the back of my house between my street and the other street. There's a bunch of trees. They've been there for years. And if one of them falls, my house is it will go all the way across my house, kill my house, my car, and everything. And all the people who own that land are deceased. So I need to go find out who owns it now. Well, they won't have to pay for it if it falls.
It's going to be you. Yeah. Now, you can send that person a certified letter saying, I'm worried about your tree, and at least your insurance company could reciprocate against them. They'll still pay out to fix your home. Okay, money goes out, but shows up as a claim on your record, but
and
you
it
want to
will
get rid
make
of
my
it.
insurance go up.
Yes. But if you can find out who that person was, you can send them a certified letter and increase your likelihood of it being taken care of and your insurance company going back against them. Yeah. I just did that last week. Thankfully, the person that owned the land was for sale. She still went out there and took the tree down, so my insurance customer didn't have to worry about it. So you can do those kind of things.
There's a bunch of them, and they're all huge.
Yeah. The other one is water. Big one is water. So water on the outside of your home, coming across the ground into your home, that is flood. That's not covered under a homeowner's policy. But water inside your home is. So you leave the water on in the tub and it just keeps flowing and flowing, it's covered. Your hose in your washing machine on the second floor disconnects and floods everything and comes down through the ceiling and on your carpet, and that's covered. Bursting pipes, frozen pipes bursting. What is not covered is slow, methodical leaks over time. So you don't see this pipe under the house and it's just got a pinhole and it's spitting out water and it's hitting the floorboards underneath the floor. And now you notice that it's squishy, and you go underneath the house and you see that that's a slow, methodical leak over time. It wasn't sudden and accidental. So again, you call your agent, tell them what happened, but you have to use the words sudden and accidental. So it was an occurrence. It wasn't something that happened over time. So you look under your sink in your kitchen and there's mold and there's mildew. That's a sign that it wasn't sudden and accidental. So the key thing an adjuster will look for is if there is any mold, mildew, black mold, whatever, that will tell them that this didn't just happen. So people get upset with that. What do I have insurance for? Insurance is for an incident that occurs and you need to get your house fixed. So people forget to replace their shingles on the roof. Over time, that could cause a slow, methodical leak. Someone's mowing the yard, they throw a rock through their siding and it creates a big hole. They don't patch it up. Over time, that could cause water to get behind there and cause a slow, methodical leak over time. People don't paint their eaves, their windowsills. Over time, that wood's going to rot, and they would think, well, you got to fix that. That's a slow, methodical leak over time.
So it pays to have your house inspected every 10 or 12 years?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't have a yes, you must do that. I think as your home gets aged, it's worth looking at it. Now, we send out people every 15 years or so for homes that are older, and we walk around the outside. We don't go on the inside, but we're looking for bad roofs, unpainted wood, appliances in the yard, broken down cars. Those are all liability claims that we want to make sure the customer knows that if something happens, that's a big claim and you got to take care of it.
You do that free of charge?
Because Allstate doesn't want the claims either. So they're making sure you know that these are potential claims that you should be taking care of. And again, it's done every 15, 20 years for the older homes for that very reason. The newer ones, and even the new ones, you get a hailstorm, your roof's not going to damage as much. Sometimes not at all. There's strong shingles. You got a 15-year-old roof, and the same hailstorm's going to, So we look at that. What is the age of the roof? What's the condition of the roof? Let me make sure I covered everything that I need here. Oh, obviously, when you have auto and your home together, you save 10% on your auto, and you save 10% on your home. So bundling is a huge, huge thing. Other discounts you're going to get is multi-policy. If you've got a car, a good driver discount if you're driving good. We have what we call accident forgiveness. So if you've driven clean for 3 years, no accident tickets, and you get in an accident, we don't count that. We waive it. Now there's some other insurance companies that say they do that, but they go back to if you had one before, they will take that one back in. So let's say you have your second one, they forgive the first one, and you have a second one, they go back and count the first one. We don't do that. But it's a pretty good benefit in that, I mean, if you have a $5,000 accident, they're going to add 3 points onto your policy, and it's going to stay on there for 3 years. You do the math on your policy, that's a lot of money you could be paying. Again, we waive that if you've driven good for 3 years. Okay, so that's a pretty
Driving good. Does that include tickets?
No accidents, no tickets, no claims. That's good. Yeah, so if you have something, you may not get accident forgiveness. But once you drive clean for 3 years, it automatically comes on. Yeah, and if you use accident forgiveness, then you're going to wait 3 years to get it back on. Yeah, good question. If you pay by easy pay, automatic draft, you save money. If you pay in full, you save money. If you have multiple cars, you save money per car. If you get life insurance with Allstate, you get save money on your auto. DriveWise is an application we use that you can download onto your phone, and it tracks you when you turn it on. So you can choose to turn it on or not, if you want to. But if you drive and your speeding is not so bad and you stop at stop signs and all that, it does track that, you get discounts. So I tell people, turn it on when you're a good driver, turn it off when you're a bad driver. But you get a discount just for downloading it onto your phone.
I was getting ready to say, so I could have it on while I'm in Reidsville, but if I'm like traveling to the beach, I can like cut that off.
Yes. All right.
I didn't say that. That's just hypothetically speaking.
Exactly right.
But it doesn't know if you run a red light, does it?
I don't know.
If it knows there's a stop sign, I'm sure it knows.
A stop sign.
It's satellite driven.
Ah.
So technology's going
My
going
husband's
crazy
like,
these days.
if you ran a red light, you'd go
Yeah.
turn yourself in.
So other discounts you just want to make sure you have too is if you pay on time, it's a discount you get. If you pay automatically draft, you get a discount. If you're paying full, is a discount. Multiple cars is a discount. If you're 55 plus, it's a discount. If you're retired, it's a discount. New cars.
55 plus.
Yep. But I will just be honest, up to a certain, if you're, again, 90, we'll see what happens.
I'm 55 plus.
You have a discount then. I'm 55 plus.
I'm gonna have to call my.
I feel 55 plus.
I am.
No, it's hard to gauge that. So I think we talked about the other claims saving tips. I think the big takeaway, even if you remember 10% of this, is when there's a claim, call your agent. Now, I'm not beating up on competition, but sometimes the direct response carriers don't know you. You've never talked to them. They're just a person taking a phone call. They may not know your situation. But calling a local agent that you know, the people in the office, you know them, they're going to be much more hand-holding to make sure you get the claim correctly and use the right words to file the claim and do the analysis to make sure should you file a claim or not. If you call a regular insurance company, direct response company, and file a claim, they're order takers. They're just going to file a claim. So
Okay.
if you're Geico, Progressive, whatever, not bad companies, it's just a different business model. And people think you pay more with an independent agent or exclusive agent. You do not. I mean, everybody's different, so you have to look at it. But just because there's an agent doesn't mean you're paying more for your insurance. So it's something to look at anyway, whether it's Geico or Progressive versus State Farm, Allstate, Nationwide. So that's what I wanted to make sure you all knew about. I believe when we run a quote through, I couldn't look at your sheet today and say, okay, I can save you this much money, because it goes into a rating system. So I would love to run you guys through a rating system, see if it saves you any money. If it does, great, you make an educated decision to stay or go. If not, that's fine too. And so, love to do that for you. Other than that, if you're a company and you want to go through this with your employees, more than willing to do that. Thank you.
I have 2 questions.
Yes, I'm ready for you.
Okay. Some of the insurance agencies now, or insurance companies now, if you have the home security system
Yes.
and it
False alarm.
no, if it lets you know you are getting water in your basement,
Okay.
some of them are now offering discounts to having that system in your home.
Okay.
Do you know if Allstate is?
I do not know. Do not know. It would make sense, but I have, be honest with you, in my situation, I hire full-time agents who are all licensed, and they actually do the actual writing of the
Okay.
policies for me.
Okay.
So they would know, and I'd get back to you with that answer to that. Good one.
Second question is Allstate has the every 6 months if you haven't had an accident.
Yes. Okay, so they advertise that right now. There's a product called Your Choice Auto, and that product
Is that up to
has that. You get money back, or you get your deductible decreased for good driving. The only state in America that product cannot be offered is North Carolina.
I live in Virginia.
It's offered in Virginia. Yes, so that is available there. Virginia pays a little bit more for their insurance. That product is more expensive. So North Carolina says, well, since it's more expensive, we are not gonna allow you to offer here in North Carolina,
Okay.
because we think that's a pseudo
So
rate
it's kind
increase.
of built into your
Correct.
policy,
And
okay.
they expect so many people will get money back, so they built in a little higher price, and people do get money back. What North Carolina has done the opposite is they've raised their good driving discounts.
Okay.
So they give the same bottom line rate across the board, whether you have to qualify to be a good driver and accident forgiveness, but they do it differently. North Carolina is the 4th lowest auto rate in the country. So we're low. Virginia, I don't know exactly where that one is.
Because all the bad drivers are in Virginia, but they have North Carolina license plates.
Yeah, well, I write in Virginia and North Carolina, but mostly I'll be seeing North Carolina.
That's always been our joke in Virginia. The worst drivers are in Virginia, but they all have North Carolina license plates.
I don't know, I pass them every time I go see my grandbaby. Some of them pretty bad in Virginia too.
Every state has their stories, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I drive every day from Virginia to North Carolina.
Yeah. Any other questions?
This has been very informative.
It has been very, very helpful.
Good.
Well, I did have something run through my mind, and we were actually talking about it this morning, but you said accidental setting your house on fire.
Yeah.
So my 5-year-old has learned how, well, I'm sorry, my 6-year-old has learned how to make macaroni and cheese cups.
Nice.
I know, right? Well, until the other day I walk in and she has put a can of SpaghettiOs in the microwave. Luckily had not turned it on because apparently something happened with the microwave and I don't know if she didn't press the right button, but she was like, there's something wrong with the microwave. It's not working. And
Maybe
I
it
was like,
sparked out and didn't start.
I was like, you
You're gonna
cannot.
have to buy her the SpaghettiOs in the cups.
I was like, you cannot put an aluminum can in the microwave, child. Like, you just can't.
Yeah.
So would that be covered under? Okay.
It's not intentional.
No, it was not intentional.
Right.
That
It
was
has to
like
be
my
intentional.
She just thought she was doing something grand.
my
Yeah.
8-year-old grandson with the macaroni cups. He'd been making them, and that time I guess his mind just wasn't there. He didn't put water in it.
Oops.
Talk about-
important ingredient.
Talk about stench.
Oh, that is too funny. So yes.
So it has to be intentional. People, they run the tub and it runs and runs and runs, and that's not intentional, but it was human error. But it's all covered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All
So
right.
did it tear up your microwave? Or
No, luckily my microwave is perfectly fine. It better be because it's brand new.
Well, I just appreciate you guys taking
Thank
the
you
time
very much.
out.
That was very informative.
And I do have gift cards for anybody who wants me to take a look at stuff.